It's time for the great British debate. I'm asking, are people smuggling gangs a threat to British women? GB News can exclusively reveal that young British women are being featured in adverts by people smuggling gangs. We've been handed evidence from a cyber contact who has discovered multiple accounts he believes are fronts for criminal people smuggling gangs. Sources claim the videos, you can see them there now, are being used to entice young males to use the service of gangs in travelling to Europe and the UK. Basically these girls in these videos, young girls out having a good time on a Saturday night, whatever, enjoying themselves, as they should be, are used as bait to lure young men over on those boats. So for the great British debate, I am asking, are people smuggling gangs a threat to British women? So let's see what my panel make of this. I'm joined by broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy and former Labour advisor Matthew Laza. Thank you so much for... I'm presenting this. I'm meant to be completely neutral, but I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm just really angry.
It's pretty hard to be neutral about it, isn't it?
It is. I'm sorry. I watched that video, and, you know, hard to believe once upon a time I was a young girl.
Not hard to believe at all,
back in 1872. I know. But, I mean, you watch those girls innocently going out,
absolutely, that's
having
the point,
a night out, and these girls are being used as literally bait to lure young men. We're not, as I said earlier, we're not saying they're all sex attackers. No. They're obviously not. But
the people who are uploading it are only doing it because they think it's going to work, have an effect, and that's what's absolutely disgraceful. As you say, it's not like this is some, you know, these are kind of X-rated videos. These are just people having fun on a Saturday, Friday and Saturday night. Yeah. And why shouldn't they? And it's just appalling, isn't it?
I mean, there is a culture clash, obviously, there's a culture clash. And sort of like, I followed this story up, and I was looking at some of the tweets from young men in countries that aren't as... the same culture as us. They don't share our culture. Yeah. And one of them actually said, and this one really annoyed me, Lizzie, it said, well, look at the way you dress. Why aren't you wearing clothing? And it's like, hold on a minute. Basically, it's the culture clash is so dangerous. What do you make of it?
Well, it's absolutely disturbing. It's distressing. But I mean, it takes this whole crisis, immigration crisis, to a whole different unsavoury level. I, for one, am very, very scared at how we're going. We need to do something, and now. I want to know about what's going on with the data, the arrests on these gangs. These smugglers are getting away with it. I'm sorry, Dawn, when you look at the statistics, it is hugely frightening. And there's 85% of coming over now via the boats. And Rishi Sunak, sorry, saying I'm going to stop the boats. You have failed like a cheap tent at every attempt. And our government has no backbone. They're not doing anything. And then we have to look at the grassroots of what's going on with this. And it is the gangs. They need to be stopped. And this is disgusting, which is going on. I couldn't quite believe that it was true when I first saw the footage. Yeah. Dawn.
Well, there have already been instances in this country, Matthew, where women and girls have been attacked by migrants coming across in boats. I mean, there have been a few arrests quite recently as well. So, I mean... well, look, I know there's not an overnight solution to
Absolutely.
No one is stupid, right? No one is saying there's an overnight solution. But Rishi Sunak did pledge to stop the boats by the end of the year, was it?
Yeah,
one of his
basically by the end of the year, by the election, which might even come before then.
So what's he waiting for? Is he waiting for a young girl to potentially be raped and possibly murdered in that attack before they actually do something?
Well, I think it should... I mean, this footage should remind us, be a big wake-up call to us all, really, about how we need to get the problem sorted. I mean, Rishi Sunak said that he'd get the problem sorted, and then in the last week he said, oh, no, it's a complicated problem. There isn't a solution. So he promised something, and then he's not going to be able to deliver on it. And that's even worse than not delivering on it, but not holding out false hope. And I think this is an important reminder, as Lizzie says, for people on my side of politics, that this is an issue about women's rights, about the safety of women and girls as well, and that's why we need... nobody is saying that all migrants are X, Y, Z, but we need to know who's here, we need to be able to track people, and we need to have people who are coming through legal pathways, and we just can't have the current mess, can we? Because, as you say, people are at risk.
We don't know who's coming over, though. We've seen the footage of them throwing away their passports, and we don't know who they are. And very near me, we have a hotel, which used to be a wonderful hotel. We used to have weddings at and parties. It's now packed full of migrants, and the school nearby are so worried. The parents don't want their children walking past. It's such a worry, and the communities themselves. I mean, look, over 50,000 now are housed in hotels. We've got, you know, I mean, 400 hotels costing 6.5 million, if not more, a day. Rwanda, another failed, you know, attempt.
Lizzie, we've had Rwanda, we've had attempts.
140 million. We've got the barge that's still sitting
there's still
there,
nobody on the barge.
floating, empty, which costs 20k a day. I mean, the figures are mad, and it's all paid by the taxpayer. Rishi Sunak, you saying stop the boats. Honestly, this is just despicable.
And there's the tent that never happened, where the tent just floated and then just disappeared again, didn't it?
But we cannot.
Yeah, a bit like the boat, really.
We haven't got, but also we haven't got the infrastructure. Our schools, our hospitals for all of this.
But
we
you
have to
can't do it, you're
stop
not planning.
with the gangs. The government haven't tackled the gangs. I really would like, there's a lack of data on gangs arrests. What are they actually doing?
Well, nothing, and that is the problem. But, I mean, Matthew, Labour don't appear to have the answer either, which is the problem.
Yeah, look, I can totally see why people are cynical, because obviously we've seen a lot of promises, and I think people need to be realistic. And the idea that Rwanda, where we've sent more Home Secretaries than we have migrants, i.e. zero migrants. So one of Labour's proposals is to take the money that would be spent on Rwanda, and a lot of which has been wasted because it hasn't actually done anything yet, and they've already written cheques to Rwanda, and spend that on a cross-border police unit to try and tackle gangs at source. Now, it's not going to solve the whole problem, but it's one way of trying to get people before they arrive here, because anybody on the left who says this is all about asylum seekers, people who are being tempted by videos of women on a Friday, Saturday night are not here to seek asylum, whatever they say.
And it's all over social media, TikTok.
Yeah,
you've got the smugglers actually showing off. Now, surely if they come over on the boats, shouldn't we've been forced to look at their phones, because they must have, you know, contact with these gangs.
And they've got very expensive phones most of the time. Right, that's a very good point. But
and data.
Absolutely right. We're running out of time. It's such an important subject. Right, this show is nothing without you and your views. So let's welcome one of our great British voices. This is your opportunity to be on the show and tell us what you really think about the topics we're discussing. This hour we are heading to Kidderminster to speak with regular GB voice John Reed. John, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. What do you make of this video? We're all very angry in the studio here.
Dawn, I think you have every right to be angry. I agree with every word you've said and of your panellists. Absolutely right. I have had the experience of sitting in prison talking to an Albanian guy locked up for committing a crime. But when I talk to him about why he's come to this country in the first place, it's not because of the attractive girls. It's because of the money they can earn. So they are economic migrants. And I think the main problem is that we're taking so long to process these people, to either keep them and let them earn us some money and pay taxes and be part of our community, or send them home. We're spending so long doing it that it attracts even more people. And I can see that a great number of people on these boats are going to see the UK just as a holiday destination. You know, you pay your $3,500, you get over here, you have 2 or 3 years paid for in a hotel. People are, you know, we're looking after them, we're giving them a little bit of spending money. And for what? It's just ridiculous. It's the government that need to do something.
John, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but again, very strong opinions. A subject that it does invite incredibly strongly. John Reed now in Kidderminster, thank you for joining us this afternoon.